What's up, y'all? If the audio sounds drastically different than usual, that's because I have a Bluetooth mic hooked up into my phone. And, I didn't buy the most expensive mic, or I guess I could say I probably cheaped out a bit when I bought this mic some time ago. So it doesn't sound as, that it doesn't sound good, or it doesn't sound that good. It doesn't sound the way I would want it to sound, but I'm driving right now, and honestly, having the audio of just me yelling at the mic whilst all the car noises are going in the background, that's worse than, what we have now. But I'm just gonna make do with what I, have at the moment and just kind of keep this because again, this is a way for me to kind of use my driving time in a way that's productive. And I don't know if I already said this, but I am on my way to school right now. So that's like, 40, sometimes 50 minutes where I'm just driving, and it's not like I can work out or I can work on school assignments in that time. So I'm just thinking, like, why not speak on what's on my mind whilst I'm driving? So kind of just, just again make more use of my own time. And hopefully the mic is doing well at kind of isolating my voice and not getting so many other outside noises within the audio quality. So there's something I kind of wanted to mention. This happened last week actually, and I kind of just wrote some like little notes about it, just to kind of look over it, things like that. And so it's based on my father. I love and respect my father. I'm not. This is nothing to do with, if he's a bad person or whatever. Nothing like that. It's just kind of like something that leads into a broader topic that I want to discuss. So last week, whilst we were praying, so we do Muslim prayer, so that involves many different parts of our body to have to be moved and mobile enough and things like that. And we pray every day, multiple times a day. And my father, he was very slow to move during the prayer, and he's in his mid 40s now, so he's not really that old, to be honest. In my opinion, unless you count anything above the age of 30 to be old. And it was just kind of surprising that he was moving so slow, like especially from the position where we were kneeling down and then we had to get back up. That was about the slowest I've ever seen him move. And it's like he prays every single day. So to me, I'm expecting him to be able to do all of these movements with ease, with no problem whatsoever. And it was just very concerning to me, seeing him kind of like, feeling like as if he's putting so much strain on his body to do something that he's been doing his entire life. So after prayer, after we got up, I told him I want you to start doing 50 squats and 50 push-ups every single day. And I chose this, like, I know that my father is more than capable of doing 50 push-ups and 50 squats every day. He could probably do upwards to 100, maybe even 150. He is very active. I'd say he used to work out a lot when he was younger. He tells me a lot that I remind him of him when he was around my age and even a bit older and things like that. But again, he like so when it comes to, I'd say, my father's health, I feel like he's probably more on the healthier side than like the average person maybe. But in terms of like his body composition, there are things that he should, needs to make changes to in order to become like a much healthier person. And he knows this too, so he's well aware. But another thing to mention, this is the main thing, is that the nature of his job, basically, is very sedentary. So he's mostly sitting down, and that's going to cause all of his joints, his hips, his knees to stiffen up and not be able to move in fuller ranges of motion. And so I felt like seeing him moving so slow and so basically like rigid during prayer, from what I see it as, it seems as if his sedentary lifestyle, or his, his the nature of his job has caught up with his daily obligations. and now it's kind of like seeping into just his general life, and that must be causing him to just feel so much like ache when he's just doing prayer, something that should be very simple for him. So, I was like, okay, just something light, just something simple for a week, 50 squats, 50 push-ups every day. And I showed him which style of push-ups and things like that. And when it comes to prayer, so when my father and I, we would go to mosques and masjids, things like that, there'd be some people who could not get into the kneeling position. So by the kneeling position, I mean a position where we are basically sitting on our feet with our ankles fully flexed. So we're like sitting on, I'd say sitting on the soles of our feet basically. Some people cannot get into that position. Some people have to sit in chairs in order to pray. And that's just kind of like that thought came into my mind. I was like, man, I don't want my father to be like that. I don't want my father to have to start sitting in chairs because he can't get into the proper praying positions. So just wanting him or making him tweak just this little change to where he's moving, most of his body through space every day, I feel like that's going to allow for him to regain his mobility, or to at least sustain what it is that he has left so he doesn't deteriorate over time. And that's why, again, I said every day, I told him to do it every day, because your body is going to get used to that type of stimulation a lot sooner than, let's say, if you were to train 3 times out of the week, or 4 times out of the week. That's why I think it's very important to try and work out or move your body, do some type of activity every day for like at least 30 minutes every day. That way your body is actually like using itself to its best abilities every day, instead of like, twice a week, 3 times a week, things like that. And I don't think we should base our activity just on an hour of, like, let's say, exercise, right? Maybe at the beginning or at the end of your day, you might work out, and you might work out for possibly an hour or so. But I don't believe that's really enough. I don't believe an hour is really enough to become more physically capable. Now, I know that some people might have, things like time taken away from them because they have like familial obligations or career obligations. But again, at the same time, going back to what I told my father to do, 50 squats, 50 push-ups, for him, that can take him 5 minutes, to be honest. That is 5 minutes of his time. Just think about how many times you are sitting around not really doing anything whatsoever, right? Even I can, just have times like that where I'm sitting around not doing anything, and I'm wasting that time. I'm not using that time in a way to better myself or to be more productive. Now, there's nothing wrong with rest. Rest is intentional, but think of all the times where you've just kind of just been sitting there not doing anything, or you've been watching TV, or you were scrolling through your phone, and you're not exactly resting your mind, right? You're still kind of being on go mode because you're consuming content. But that's besides the point. So we should try and do things like walking more, maybe going out running, maybe play some like recreational activity with friends, like football or basketball or soccer, things like that. Or just like, take a friend and just do a workout with him. What I notice all the time is when I work out with friends, I work out for a lot longer, because we just like, oh, let's do this, let's do that, or blah blah blah, or we try to challenge each other, things like that, and that way we kind of end up burning more calories, or we end up just using our body a lot more. Then there are simple lifestyle changes, right? One major lifestyle change that I implemented into my life was sleeping on the floor. Now, I know that might sound ridiculous, that might sound crazy. I don't know the type of audience I have that is listening to my videos, but for the past, I'd say maybe 2 months or so, I have been sleeping on the floor. And honestly, it has been a pretty good lifestyle change, right? So, what I have to do is I have to put up my bed. Well, I kind of have to roll out my bed and then put up my bed. So how things work is that I sleep on a duvet that's folded in half, and I sleep on a sheet, and then I have covers and blankets that I lay under. And at the beginning of each day, after I wake up, I have to roll those sheets up, and I have to put them in the corner of my room. I have to place my pillows and everything nice and neat. So this way, I'm kind of like doing squats. I'm kind of like almost like squatting down to the ground and like rolling up my bed sheets. So that's like immediately right after I work out, I'm doing something, right? Even let's say you don't even put up your bed. When you wake up, think about it. You're waking up. You're either doing a sit up. Let's say if you sleep on your back, you're doing a sit up and then you're doing a squat. And then let's say you sleep on your stomach, you have to do like a push up and then a squat just to get up out of bed. So you're already using your body a lot more than you usually would. Let's say if you were to just to sleep on a regular mattress, where you kind of have to just roll out of bed and then you just kind of like stand up from the bed. You're not really your body isn't really doing anything challenging, whilst you're waking up out of the bed. So you're immediately getting active. Even something simple as sitting on the floor, right? If you notice when you sit on the floor, you're going to move and switch around and change your body into many different positions in a span of something like 30 minutes, right? Such a short amount of time. And it doesn't have to be intentional. It doesn't have to be intentional, like, okay, I'm going to make sure I go and walk right now. It can be like when you're sleeping on the floor or when you're doing work from the floor, sitting on the floor, you're moving your body without realizing that you're intentionally putting in extra work. So that's why it's kind of important to just kind of make these lifestyle changes wherever you see fit. Maybe even standing up, just think about standing up. Maybe you have to do some work on your laptop, or you have to do some type of art piece or whatever. Do it standing up. Try standing up, right? Instead of sitting in a chair. Because we sit in that chair position, that 90-degree position, for most of our lives, right? Where we grow up, especially, living in the West, or developed countries where everybody sits in chairs. So right now, example, I'm driving. I'm sitting down. Earlier, I was watching anime and I was sitting down. I'm going to be at school and I'm going to be sitting down. Then I'm going to come back home in a chair, sitting down whilst I'm driving. And then I'm probably going to be doing some schoolwork, sitting down, right? Or maybe what I can do is when I get back home, I can take out my floor chair. I can sit up against the wall, something like that. Prop up my iPad on a couple of books or whatever, and I can start sitting on the floor. And I'll notice that my body is going to go through many different positions that, for one, stretch my body, and for two, allow me to become more active and mobile. So just, again, make the changes where you see fit. If you feel like you can't sit on the floor, or you feel like you can't make that change to your bed, then try and find other ways to be more active. Maybe, again, just walk more, right? Something as simple as walking, just moving your feet in front of you, can do so much, because movement is medicine, right? And in this world today, we don't have that much movement. So we're relying on the medicine given to us by our doctors, given to us by, I don't know, whatever, right? Given to us by the medical system, instead of relying on the medicine that we can get from ourselves, from within, and from our own body, right? There's so much that we can fix without having to rely on the medicine and the medical attention of the systems put in place to honestly keep us sick, right? Now, I'm not gonna say that's that's what every medical system does, or that's the only thing the medical system does. But just think, medicine is business, right? Your health is a form of business, and people want to capitalize on your health by declining it, so that way they can sell you pills and sell you procedures and things like that. But that's about it. Take what you will. Just try and move your body more. Movement is medicine. Try and live a much more active lifestyle, because it'll save your life, to be honest. See you guys in the next video.